Hello, everyone. It's Mr. Yamas again with our fifth online lecture. This time we're going to go over the Industrial Revolution, and I don't want to take that much time. I know I've been doing quite some long lectures, but let's get to the Industrial Revolution and let's go ahead and see what's up here. Let me ask you all a question. Just briefly answer it in your head. What is it that you really want as an individual? As a person, you have a want, right? I'm not talking about a necessity, I'm talking about a want. So, for example, many people, and maybe including some of us, maybe we want a new car, right? Maybe we want the new iPhone 11, which I already have it, but but what is it that you want, And then maybe some of us want a mansion, a nice big house where everybody can live in, or we want money. It depends on what we want, right? Like, what do you want? And so there's always something behind your want. So what is that thing behind the want is that somebody can give you that. It's either yourself if you work hard or somebody has to produce what you want. But there's what 7 billion people on earth, and let's say all 7 billion people want an iPhone 11 right here, then who's going to make it? How are we going to produce all those iPhones 11, right? So those are the three economic questions that we have to ask, or ask ourselves. And so the three economic questions. The first question is, what should be produced? What should be produced? Should we produce iPhone 11s because the people want them? Should we produce, like in this case, should we be producing more masks because people need them and people want them? Should we be producing more cars right now because people are buying cars? How should it be produced? How, if we're gonna produce it in a factory, are we gonna produce it in a little cottage? Where are we gonna produce it? How should it? Are we gonna use machines? Are we gonna use actual people? And who should get those productions? So, for example, if we create 100,000 iPhone 11s, we get to decide who should get that, or businesses get to decide who should get those iPhone 11s. And so the answers again really depend on us, on society, and why? Well, because if we say, well, we all want iPhone 11s, then businesses should say, let me switch my business to creating iPhone 11 so that I could produce it. You see, I'm a business. How should it be produced? Well, by a business. And who should get it? Well, the people who can afford a $700 phone. Those are the people who should be able to get it. So those are the questions. It depends on us. So, for example, you can also ask questions like tradition. So let's say everybody here in the United States, we all need to eat, I don't know, chicken nuggets. I don't know. We have to produce it. It's tradition. For thousands of years, Laredo's always been eating chicken nuggets every day, so we have to produce it. That's tradition. Versus government based, which means that if the government says, well, no, I want everybody to be eating salads, then we're going to be producing a lot of salad. Or I want everybody to be wearing white shirts, then we're just going to be producing white shirts, and you don't have a choice. We're just going to produce it because that's the law. Versus economic freedom. And economic freedom is what we call free enterprise, which is this one right here. Free enterprise system. The people enjoy economic freedom, which is the freedom to make their own choices in deciding what to buy, where to work, and what to make. We have that choice here. I decided to be a teacher. Everybody here decided, your teachers decided to be teachers. People decide to be whatever they want. People decide where to work and what to make. If you're a business owner, you're going to decide, well, I think we're going to be making stereos. If stereos were very popular back in the 90s and 80s, it's like then we would be producing that a lot. It's economic freedom. We get to choose it. But there's some governments that say this is not the case. You do not have the right to choose what you want. And we'll go over those types of economies right now. But you have the right to property. You can own property. You have the right to invest for profit. If you want to start your own business, you can do it. This allows for competition to choose better product at cheaper prices. So several of us here, let's say we're doing masks, right? Because people need them, which is one of the questions: what should be produced and how? Then we're going to produce masks, right? We're going to produce these masks, and then let's say I sell a pair of masks for $1 each. and then one of you decides to say, hey, I'm gonna sell them 75 cents each. It saves a person 50 cents, stuff like that. And so you start competing. This is called the free enterprise system. The government intrusion is limited. For example, if I start making masks out of this cheap material and I sell it to you for $1 and then it only lasts you for 2 hours, and you're gonna be like, well, I paid $1 for this. It's pretty cheap. But again, there's limitations. So the government needs to say, oh, you have to use this product to make the mask. So that's what it means by government intrusion is limited, but it's not there telling you how to do it, how to produce it. It's just telling you these are the standards. For example, cars, for example, they can say something like, all the cars need to be made out of this certain steel. And if they pass a law, they can do that, but they're not telling you how to mold and how to melt and how to do the steel. They're just telling you this steel. It also depends on the law of supply and demand. It really depends on the law of supply and demand, which is if we need it right now, then it'll be produced, but the prices will go higher. If we don't need something right now, it'll still be produced, but the prices would be cheaper. That's what law of supply and demand means. And so one of the most famous, I guess, philosophers or professors out there that advocated for this was Adam Smith, which is this guy right here. Adam Smith, a Scottish professor who says that each person pursues her own interest in the free enterprise system. So he believes in this hands off. The government shouldn't intervene. People know where to spend the money. People know what to produce. People know what to sell, so on and so forth. This is the free enterprise system. And again, the free enterprise system is the freedom to make your own choices. And the word is free, right? Freedom. Okay. So Adam Smith is that guy. You have the right to buy whatever you want. You want to go buy a car? Do it. You want to go buy, I don't know, a pencil, markers? Do it. You can do that. You have the right to do that. Adam Smith says that. And so this is what gives start to the Industrial Revolution. Okay, because people start saying, hey, we all want these shoes, we all want these cars, we all want these, I don't know, whatever you want. So factories start saying, there's some money to be made in that. So let's produce these things. But if you only employ 5 people to produce what millions of people want, then you're going to take a while. So then we start creating what we started the Industrial Revolution, which is mass production, large-scale production of identical goods and the use of new sources of energy. So the factory made and steam power to run the machinery. So this is where we start. Industrial Revolution starts to use the factory systems, and we start to use the the machinery systems, so that we can produce products faster. This is where we start seeing that. The causes of this, well, it depends where you live, geographical advantage. It also depends on your current transportation and communication. It depends on how much money your people have. And it depends on how much food and resources the population has. Okay, so some of the innovations that we started seeing in the early industrial revolution were, like, for example, the spinning jenny right here. So, for example, if you go to the store and you say, I need 10 shirts, and 5 of them are going to be this color, the other 5 are going to be this color. Well, if there's only 2 people working in the cottage, it's going to take like a month maybe, or less, or weeks. But with this spinning jenny, we're probably going to get your 10 shirts quicker, and probably in a couple of days. So stuff like that. The steam engine, this engine that is steam powered to produce and make sure these machines are turning and pulling by themselves, not necessarily having a person pull them. And we're also going to see resources. Okay, we're going to see like new metals and woolens so that we can create shirts. And then we can create what's it called? Steel canals for transportation. So we're gonna see little boats for transportation here and there and between the cities. Mine and forge, for example, like your coal fields and other stuff like that. And here's a map of the coal fields and industrial area. So obviously this requires people, right? It requires people to work these fields, to work these new machines that are here, to take advantage of these machines and to make sure that everything's working smoothly. These machines. So industrial revolution equals mass production of scales using a machine. Okay, so that's why there's a picture here of the factories with all these smoke, and all these factories have these machines that produce stuff that the people want. And that's why we went over, what do you want? You know, they're going to start producing all that. And they're free, these factories are free to produce whatever they want. You're going to use children. One of them is that you're going to use children to make sure that these things right here, these resources, and that these products start to happen. Children, by the age of 5 all the way to the age of 13, maybe even 14, 15, you use them in coal fields, and you would also use them here as they're called child hurriers. Because their bodies were so tiny, they were able to fit in this little tunnel, and they were able to transport coal from the bottom all the way to the top and take it to the surface. Okay, so that's why we started using child labor, children at the age of 5. You also started using the factory system here. So the factory system, Richard Arkwright is the founder. It's a faster production using machinery. Usually, if you were going to work at a factory, you were going to work there from 12 to 14 hours only. And it was very dangerous. And I want you to look at this picture right here. This one. Look at these children cleaning the machine, but look, they're not wearing any shoes, or he's not wearing any shoes. So if that machine is on, this is what we mean by dangerous conditions. He can probably, and yes, we did see a lot of people with their hands and their limbs being chopped off and stuff like that. Wages, if you were under 11, you would probably be paid like $2 every 3 days. If you 11 through 16, $4 every 1 day or per 1 day, and then 17 to 21 years old, that's $10. Sorry for that, $10 per 2 days. So this is what we start seeing in the industrialization. We also start seeing steam ships and locomotives. These ships right here for faster transportation, communication of people and goods. Also, these trains right here, we start seeing them better and stuff like that. And one of the major socioeconomic problems that we're going to start seeing are the rich people. So this is what we call the bourgeoisie right here. The bourgeoisie. That's how you say it. I know many people in the past were like the bourgeoisie or whatever. No, it's the bourgeoisie. Okay, the bourgeoisie are basically your rich people. They're the factory owners. And what we start seeing is rich versus poor. This is where we start seeing that division, guys. If you're upstairs, that means you're on the top, you have a lot of money. If you're downstairs, you don't have a lot of money. Okay, you're very poor. These are the conditions that we start seeing in industrialization. A lot of factory pollution right here. Towns that were always under smoke, as you can see there. People living in these little apartment houses, tenements, and these apartment houses in undercrowded and dirty conditions because of the pollution. So what would people do is that you see there's like colchas and garras there, like, you know, bed sheets of linens and stuff like that. But all this smoke would make it dirty. And yes, some people would die because of the smoke, because they would live close by the factories. So that's one of the things that we started seeing here during industrialization is pollution, crowded apartment houses, very dirty conditions. This is where we start getting more industrialized. That's what we mean by industrialization. But again, one of the things is that you're going to see the rich people and the poor people. And then the last slide here, because I only have a couple more minutes, is protests and reforms. For example, some of these people depended on private charities and soups, which we still have today. This is where we start seeing like, hey, there's a lot of people that they're still working, but they can't afford something, so they have to go to these charities and soup kitchens. Charter of Rights, the rights of the workers, people who fought for the workers. And then you have this famous guy, Karl Marx, and utopian. It's called socialism, which is what Bernie Sanders wanted when he was running for president back in 2016 and this year in 2020. And he's no longer running. But Bernie Sanders wanted what he wants, which is a perfect society for everybody. There shouldn't be a rich or poor. Everybody should be equal. Everybody should earn the same. Everybody should live in this perfect society. People should own the production. People should do this. Money, the government should give money to everybody, so on and so forth. So Karl Marx believes in what we call socialism. Everybody is equal in getting the money and stuff like that. So I know I went a little quick, and I have to be doing this. I have to go quick. But if you have any questions, once again, just ask your teacher, and they'll help you out with anything there. So until next lecture on imperialism.